God bless you. I wanted to share a passage with you found in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 18. It's a passage that deals with prayer. And if ever there was a time that we need to come together for prayer, the time is now. Luke 18:1, Jesus says that man ought to always pray and not faint. That word man there, it really deals with anthropos, the idea of neutrality in gender, male or female. Prayer, the connectivity with God, making certain that we have a line of communication open with the Lord. And the idea of fainting suggests not getting weary, not quitting, not stopping short of the goal. And prayer, it allows us to, according to 1 Peter 5:7, to cast all our cares upon him, for he cares for us. When our load is too heavy, we can cast it on him. Jesus, he gives this as a precursor to the story that he really wants to emphasize, which is a parable. Jesus is the master storyteller. Many of us, if we're honest, we could give our own testimony of how Jesus has made our lives, which were ordinary, extraordinary. He's that kind of a master storyteller. He gives stories about nature. He gives stories about families. And here he gives a story about justice. What he says is there's a certain city, and inside of this city, there's an unjust judge. And then there's a widow woman there. He describes the unjust judge as one who does not fear God, nor does he regard man. And the widow woman is just that. She doesn't have a husband. There's no male heir that seemingly stands with her. And yet she goes to this judge and she demands to be avenged. She demands justice. And of course, the judge, whose name is not given, he denies her justice. And she being relentless, she being determined, she comes back again and again, looking for justice. And this unjust judge decides, when he talks to himself, that though he does not fear God, though he does not regard man, that if he does not give this woman justice, she is going to weary him. That word weary, it means to beat, and not just to beat or to strike, but it means to beat or to strike in the eye, suggesting he is more concerned about how people will look at him, that his reputation may become skewed or marred. And he's prepared to give her justice so that he can save his reputation. And when she comes back the next day, he does just that. And the Christ says, if this unjust judge will give a woman justice because of what he perceives is saving his own skin because of her persistence, how much more would your Father in heaven do for you behind persistent prayer? Beloved, if ever there was a time that you and I ought to engage in the act of prayer, it is now. It is now. Jesus taught his disciples, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. When Solomon prays, God says, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray. Paul says from a Philippian jail, be anxious for nothing, but everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your request be made known unto God. And Jesus says, while dying on a cross, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. What I'm trying to tell you is that prayer is always in order. Whatever you do, don't stop praying. Now, more than ever. God bless you. I love you to life.